I'm going to talk about Kobe's 666 game where he scored 81 points. You're going to be using a lot of gematria. If you're not familiar with it, some of you are. Gematrinator, I'm going to leave the link for it on in the description. And you can go see the 4 ciphers for yourself. You'll see the letters being added, and you'll see the value of every word or name. As you can see, Kobe being Bryant equals 81, Mark of the Beast equals 81, Ritual equals 81. Two times. That's why I have it up there twice. Many of you who are familiar with gematria already know that. You're familiar with the 81 and Kobe. I'm going to go into more detail with this game. As you see, number 2, 81-point game was 81 days after the start of the 05-06 season for the Lakers. So Kobe just happens to score 81 points after, 81 days after the season started for them. Just a bunch of people would just call it, oh, it's a coincidence. These are fixed, scripted games. Number 3, Kobe scores the 81st points combined and 81st points for the Lakers. Put LAL just to save some space, but yeah, scores 81st points combined in the game, an 81-point game, and the 81st points for the Lakers. Number 4, Lakers and Raptors combined for 419 points in their 2 games played in the 05-06 season. 419 is the 81st prime number. Of course, their second game was the 81-point game. Number 5, Kobe's last regular season game as number 8 was April 19th. You write that 4/19 like the number 419, which is the 81st prime. Number 6, Kobe's 81st point was his 419th free throw taken in the 05-06 season. So you see how fixed that is? So I know right when he got his 81st point in the 81-point game, it happened to be his 419th free throw taken in the 05-06 season. And 419 is the 81st prime number. Number 7, Lakers' top 2 scorers were jerseys 8 and 1, such as Kobe Bryant and Smush Parker. Kobe number 8, Smush Parker was number 1, and they were the top 2 scorers in the 81-point game for the Lakers. Number 8, Smush Parker was born in 81, like 1981. Number 9, Kobe's 2 assists were for points 19 and 100. He had 2 assists in the 81-point game, and the first one was for points 19, and the second one was points 100. And 100 is 81 points away from 19. Isn't that amazing? There's 2 assists in the game. Number 10, you're probably wondering why I have Devin equals 81. Because Devin Green is the one who subbed in for Kobe in the 81-point game after he got his 81 points. And Devin just happens to equal 81. Number 11, Vanessa equals 81. That's Kobe's wife. So it's a very big number with Kobe and his wife. Number 12, Sasha Vujacic equals 81. Probably wondering why I have him there, but you'll see throughout the video later on. He'll be mentioned a bit more. Number 13, Lawrence Tanner's birthday leaves 81 days remaining in the year. Lawrence equals 81. You're probably thinking, well, who is Lawrence Tanner? He's the Lakers PA announcer, so every time somebody on a Lakers score, he announces their name for 2-pointer or 3-pointer or whatever it is, or on the opposing team. So that guy's birthday leaves 81 days remaining in the year, and his name equals 81. And by the way, on that, his birthday's October 11th, and the Lakers won the 2020 NBA championship on October 11th, leaving 81 days remaining in the year, because it was a big ritual. That's what it was. Lakers won the 2020 NBA championship on Father-Daughter Day. Should remind you of Kobe and Gianna. Number 14, Kobe's last tweet was at 10:39 p.m. 10:39 p.m. leaves 81 minutes remaining in the day. Number 15, Jason Tatum texts Kobe at 4:19 p.m. Isn't that interesting? Jason Tatum sends Kobe a text. This was a few months ago when he was going to Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And he just happens to text Kobe at 4:19 because 419 is the 81st prime. And Kobe was, well, according to them, he's dead, so I don't know the purpose of him necessarily texting Kobe, other than a big ritual. Number 16. Sam Mitchell's team scored 81 points on his first game played on January 22nd. Now, you're probably wondering, who's Sam Mitchell? He was the coach of the Raptors during the 81-point game. And the 81-point game was on January 22nd, but it's amazing how his first time he ever played on that day, his team scored 81 points. Number 17. Kobe Doing Work was filmed during the 81st game of the 07-08 season. I forgot the right season there, but yeah. So what was Kobe Doing Work? That was a documentary film about Kobe, and it shows you more detail into the game. He was, mic'd up, and it just shows us, I guess the best way, just more detail to the game, even though the games are fixed. They know they're mic'd up, they know they have to act it out and whatnot. So that game just happened to be his 81st game. It was the director was Spike Lee, and that game happened to be 24 days after Spike Lee's birthday. Kobe, number 24. And also that game was filmed on April 13th. Kobe retired on April 13th. Yeah, and that was 8 years before Kobe's retirement. Kobe used to wear jersey number 8. So big 824 connections there. Number 18, April 13th is 81 days after January 22nd. So there you go, his retirement, 81 days after his biggest game. I believe his retirement was on a leap year, so probably 82 days. So 81 days between both days. Number 19, Madagascar 2 equals 81. You're probably wondering, why do I have that up there? Now that's a movie, and it had a different name, but in the 81-point game, Chris Rock was he was attended the game. And the Lakers commentators interviewed him during the second or third quarter, and they're like, hey, what are you working on lately? And Chris Rock was like, oh, we're working on Madagascar 2. It just happens to say that the 81-point game, and Madagascar 2 equals 81. There's a little more to Chris Rock in this, you'll see a bit later. Number 20. LeBron scores his 666 points of his second season with the Lakers on his 81st game as a Laker. That day leaves 18 days remaining in the year. I'm going to go into number 18 a bit later, but yeah. He just happens to score 666 points of his second season, and it was his 81st game as a Laker. Number 21. Lakers played the Raptors on August 1st. And how do you write August 1st? 8/1. That was the 2019-2020 season, which got suspended. And what was it, weeks or months later, they continued the season. And that's what we get. The Lakers to play on August 1st against the Raptors of all teams. Number 22. Hustle was released 81 days before Kobe's birthday of this year. And that was a movie, Adam Sandler and so. They just happened to connect Kobe into this a lot. The movie was, hour and 57 minutes long. Kobe Bryant equals 157. And there was something else to it. But the other main actor in this movie, it was released 248 days after his birthday. And Kobe's jersey number is 24 and 8. So I found that very interesting. There was a bit more to that movie with Kobe, but let's move on. 23. If you add 6 plus 6 plus 6, it equals 18. And that's backwards for 81. It was Kobe's 666 game. We're going to get into this number 18, how big it was in this game. Number 24, the Lakers were down by 18 points in this game. We move on. Number 25, the Lakers won by 18 points. So they were down by 18. They end up winning by 18. Number 26, Kobe missed 18 shots in the whole game. Missed 18 shots. Number 27, Kobe made 18 free throws. And the 18th free throw was his 81st points. Number 28, Kobe's teammates scored 18 points in the second half. Number 29, Kobe took 18 shots in the first half. Number 30, Kobe made 18 shots in the second half. Number 31, number 18 took the last shot of the game. Number 18 was Sasha Vujacic, which I mentioned earlier, who equals 81. Where were we at? Number 32. Number 1 and number 8 made the first and last points for the Lakers. So yeah, Smush Parker, number 1, he made the first points for the Lakers. And then number 8, Kobe, makes the last points for the Lakers in this game. 33, the Lakers played their 18th game in the 05-06 season against the Raptors. So this number 18 was very big in this game. It was 81 backwards, and then they just happened to play their 18th game of that season against the Raptors. And this game was their 41st game for the Lakers and Raptors. And you know how Kobe Bryant equals 41, supposedly dies at 41 years old. What was it? Even Kobe's teammates, all of his teammates scored 41 points in the whole game of the 81-point game. I think the Raptors scored 41 points in the second half. So tries to show you what they had in our face the whole time. Okay, number 34. That day was a span of 18 days before Chris Rock's birthday, that day being the 81-point game. So remember, he was there, he was being interviewed by the Lakers commentators, and just happened to be a span of 18 days before his birthday. Number 35. If you add 1 through 36, you get 666, a triangular number. And let me go more into detail with that. For example, if you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, all the way to 36, you'll get 666. Lakers gave up 36 points. Where is it? Sliding is pretty bad right now on the side. Lakers gave up 36 points in the first quarter. Toronto equals 36 and 36. They equal 36 twice. They give up 36 in the first quarter, and I believe that was the most they gave up in the first quarter that season. And that's very interesting about this number 36, because remember, the Lakers, they won by 18 points. Where is it? Right there. Lakers won by 18 points, and they were down by 18 points in this game. What is that? A 36-point turnaround. Why? Because it's a big ritual for Kobe's 666 game, because number 36 has a big connection to 666. Moving on. Number 36, funny, right? Number of the beast equals 66. Kobe had 66% of the Lakers' points and took 66 shots, including free throws. That was all in the 81-point game. Found that pretty interesting. Number 37. Satanic equals 122. The 81-point game was on January 22nd. How do you write that? 1/22. And scripted equals 122 as well. And this was a very big scripted game, just like the rest of the NBA. And yes, all players are all in on it. They're all in on it. It's don't know how else to say it. It's just fixed and scripted. Number 38. Lakers scored 122 points on January 22nd, 1/22. That was this game. And Kobe's 81st point was the 122nd point for the Lakers. Is that funny? Satanic equals 122. The game is on 1/22. Lakers score 122 points. And it's Kobe's 666 game. Number 39. Satanic equals 22. And so does Satanist. I believe basketball equals 22 as well. Maybe they threw that in there for their ritual. The 81-point game was on the 22nd day of the year. So it is January 22nd. Number 40, the Lakers won their 22nd game of the season. So they just happened to win their 22nd game of the season on the 22nd day of the year. And Satanic equals 22, and it was Kobe's 666 game. 41. Kobe scored the last 22 points for the Lakers. I found that very interesting. It's this 666 game, Satanic equals 22. You pick up your 22nd win of the season, and it's the 22nd day of the year. Kobe just happens to score the last 22 points for the Lakers. It's unbelievable. Number Number 42, Toronto scored 22 less points in the second half than they did in the first half. Found that interesting. Number 43, Devin Green's birthday is 2 months and 2 days after Kobe's birthday. Devin Green was the one who subbed in for Kobe after he scored 81 points. Number 44, one referee was number 22. Yep, one of the 3 refs was number 22, believe it or not. 45, I'm trying to get that lighting right. This way, there we go. Number 45, August 1st, 8/1 is 22 days before Kobe's birthday. And what was it, the Lakers and the Lakers triangle, I don't know if you guys could hear it. The Lakers and the Raptors happened to play on that day, which was very interesting. Number 46, Kobe retired 122 months and 22 days after the 81-point game. I found that very interesting, since Satanic equals 122 and Satanic equals 22, and he just happens to retire 122 months and 22 days after the 81-point game. I just don't know how much more scripted it could be than that. That's unbelievable. So, moving on to number 47. As you can see, Bryant equals 26. Kobe scored 26 points in the first half and died on the 26th day of 2020. Put that in quotes since I don't believe he's dead. But yeah, so Bryant 26, scores 26, dies on the 26th. 26 points obviously in the 81-point game in the first half. Number 48, Satan equals 55. Kobe scored 55 points in the second half. Vanessa Bryant's birthday is May 5th, 5/5. Kobe and Gianna's memorial was on the 55th day of 2020. Yeah, 55th day of 2020. So they die on the 26th day of the years. Bryant equals 26. And they happen to have their memorial on the 55th day of the year. And that's what he scored in the 81-point game, 26 and 55, first half and second half. It's pure mockery. Okay, number 50. Kobe had 55 more points than Toronto's top scorer, which was Mike James. Mike James happened to have 26 points in this game. Kobe had 55 more points than him. 51. Kobe's first made shot tied the game 5-5. And that's 10 points combined. Satan equals 10. Sam Mitchell's birthday is 10 days after Kobe's birthday. Sam Mitchell, obviously, what did I say earlier? The Raptors coach at that time. Number 52. 52. One referee was number 55. So earlier I mentioned about this number 22. One referee was number 22. And now that I'm talking about this number that was big in this game, and Kobe scored 55 in the second half, and one of the referees was number 55. Found that very interesting. How can we get that light off there? Let me move back a little bit. There we go. I'll just zoom in. 53. 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. Both teams scored 216 points combined after Kobe's first made shot in this game. 54. This game was a span of 21 weeks and 6 days after Kobe's birthday, like 216. 55. This game was a span of 21 weeks and 6 days before Mike James's birthday, the top scorer for the Raptors. So, span of 21 weeks and 6 days after Kobe's birthday, the top scorer for the Lakers, and it's a span of 21 weeks and 6 days before Mike James's birthday. Amazing. Number 56. Lakers versus Raptors on August 1st was 216 days after the last game Kobe attended. Some of you might remember the Lakers Mavericks, Kobe and Gianna's last game attended. And 216 days later, Lakers versus Raptors on 8/1. Number 57. Kobe's 81st point was the 224 points combined. Toronto Raptors equals 224. 58. This game was a span of 224 days before Sam Mitchell's birthday. funny how they did a lot of rituals with that, with their coach. It's pretty interesting. 59. Kobe and Gianna's memorial was February 24, 2/24. Like how Kobe's 81st point was the 224 points combined. Gianna number 2, that's what she wore. Kobe number 24, 2/24 was their memorial. Number 60, Toronto ended the game with 104 points, and we're going to talk about that right now. 61, that day was 104 days before Kobe wore number 8 for the last time. I found that interesting. 104 days later after the 81-point game, Kobe just happens to wear number 8 for the last time. Number 62, Sasha Vujacic took and missed the last shot of the game. It was his 104th missed shot of the season. And I believe that was his 157th shot taken in this season. Kobe Bryant equals 157. 63, Chris Rock equals 104. 64, Kobe retired on the 104th day of 2016. Well, if you ignore that 0, 216, which I talked about earlier, which they like to do, is ignore the 0. 65, Stephen Curry plays the Raptors with 81 points in the 2019-2020 season. Stephen Curry ends up with 104 points in the season after that game. So he got injured in like his 4th game of that season, and he had 81 points, and he misses 58 games, I believe. Kobe Bryant equals 58, and he comes back to play the Raptors with 81 points. And that was his last game of the season, and he ends up with 104 points in the whole season. 66. Mark of the Beast equals 144. The 81-point game was 144 months after Sam Mitchell's first game played on January 22nd. And that's when his team scored 81 points. That was 1994, I believe. 67. Kobe died 14 years and 4 days after the 81-point game. Mark of the Beast equals 144, and he dies 14 years and 4 days after the 81-point game. 68. This one's very interesting. Kobe leads the NBA with 14,481 missed shots. And he just happens to die 14 years and 4 days after scoring 81. Found that interesting. And they probably did 2 and 1 there with the 144 and 81, since Mark of the Beast equals 144 and Mark of the Beast equals 81. Number 69. Talia Bryant was 157 weeks old on January 22nd, 2006. Kobe Bryant equals 157. And he dies a span of 157 days from his birthday. All right, Natalia Bryant's 240th post on Instagram was on August 1st of this year. I found that interesting because Kobe number 24, and she just happens to have that on August 1st. You can go look for that for yourself on Instagram, you'll see it. Number 70. Number of the Beast equals 87. 666 also equals 87. Lakers took the lead in the second half with 87 points. What was it? The Lakers are, oh, there we go. The Lakers are plus 87 in the season after the 81-point game. So I found that very interesting as well. After they won that game, they had 87 more points than their opponents in all 41 games they played. The number of the Beast equals 87. I believe Sasha equals 87 as well, and he took the last shot of the game. Number 71. Mike James misses games 18 and 37. That was in the 05-06 season, and I found it interesting. If you add those two, you get 55. Or if you times them, you get 666. And also Bryant equals 37. 72. Number of the Beast equals 174. Michael Lamont James equals 174. That's Mike James's full name. And his birthday is the 174th day of the year. I forgot to put the TH for the 174th. But yeah, his birthday is the 174th day of the year. And his name equals 174, and so does Number of the Beast. He just happens to be the top scorer for the Raptors in the 81-point game. Number 73. Bastian Bargain. Some of you that, about Gematrinator heard about this. Means, you know, deal with the devil equals 143. Okay, I found this interesting. Kobe scores 26 and 55, first half and second half. If you times those, you get 1,430. And Kobe scored 1,430 points for the rest of the season after the 81-point game. I thought that was pretty crazy. Number 74. 823 is the 143rd prime number. It's like fasting bargain equals 143. Kobe's birthday is August 23rd, 8/23. Number 75. 1:43 p.m. is the 823rd minute of the day, leaving 617 minutes remaining. 617 is the 113th prime number. Kobe Bryant equals 113. So I'm sure there's more to this 81-point game and all of this. By the way, fasting bargain also equals 100. And the last point Kobe's teammates scored was the 100th point of the game. What was it? What was I going to say? I lost that thought. Oh, yeah, the Lakers, obviously, this was against the Raptors. You know, they're like a dinosaur, of course, similar to a dragon. And you know, the devil in like Revelation 12:9, I believe, is mentioned as a dragon, the old serpent. Kobe, Black Mamba, serpent, like a lot of connections to the devil. That's why I think the Lakers played the Raptors, because the similarities with the dragon and that, and it's obviously symbolic. The devil's not an actual dragon, but reading in Revelation 12:9, you'll see how he's called the dragon and so and so. But also the biggest celebrity fan for the Toronto Raptors, many of you know him, just one of many wicked music artists named Drake. Well, the name Drake also means dragon, and he's just happens to be their biggest celebrity fan for the Raptors. Yeah, that's all I have for this video. I'm sure there's so much more to this game. You can leave it in the comment section if you notice more connections. Since I have more room on this board, I put, as you can see, let me zoom into that. There we go. As you can see, 1978 plus 2020 plus 2006 plus 2020. That's the years Kobe was born and he supposedly died, and that was the year Gianna was born and supposedly died. You'll get Kobe's jersey numbers, 8,024. They ignored a 0, so 824. I also put 1/22 like January 22nd plus 1/26 like January 26th. That was his biggest game, 81 points. And that was the day he supposedly died, January 26th. If you add those, 122 plus 126, you get 24 and 8. Found that pretty interesting. But yep, NBA is just like the WWE, scripted, fake. A lot of people still think it's real. I don't know how you get past, Kobe being Bryant equals 81, Mark of the Beast equals 81, and he just happens to scores 81 points for a 666 game. To me, that's unbelievable. But yeah, if you're still a fan, I suggest you look into Gematria and you'll see for yourself.